All right, welcome to Peeps the cafe where you can sit at our table, order your favorite drink, and listen to some slightly intense but definitely worthwhile conversation. A podcast where you can drink, listen, and converse. Today I am joined in the cafe by Cristhian. Say hello to the people, Cristhian.
Hello.
Oh, hello. And for the first time, I'm joining the cafe with Denise. Say hello, Denise.
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Ah, bien.
Qué bueno.
Now, Spanish is getting there. What would you say?
Sure.
All right. All right, so.
He's been trying for over 16 years.
At the cafe, you know we always have our conversations sitting around our favorite drink. And today we are keeping it a little classy and we are drinking on wine. I am drinking a Malbec. And what are you drinking, Cristhian?
Moscato.
Moscato. Mm-hmm. And Denise, what are you drinking?
Ice wine.
She is drinking it on ice wine, which is basically water and sugar.
No, it is
in a
not.
cup. All right. If you are over the age of 21, be sure to grab your alcoholic beverage. If you are under the age of 21, if you just don't feel like drinking, you don't have to. You can get you some water, get you some tea, get you some coffee, get you some lemonade, and you can even get some hot cocoa. All right, so y'all ready to get into the conversation?
What's on the menu today
We are.
at Peeps Creek?
Are you ready, Chris?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
You just gave him a new nickname. Now his name Chris.
I hate that nickname.
All right, let's get into the conversation. So on the menu today is, Denise, what is it?
Do we regret it?
Do we regret it? All right, so what are we talking about today?
It's a book.
Chris.
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
This is your show. Go ahead. You're the host. He's the co-host. I'm the guest.
So wait, you come in here for the first time, you demote me.
Yes.
And then promote him. Okay, but go ahead. Someone tell the people why we entitled this, Do We Regret It?
Me?
Somebody.
Alright, like we mentioned in the previous podcast, we are in a group or a book club, and we started reading this book called Regretting You, and we all finished it. So
We
now-
all finished it. So we are actually going to hold a book review on the book Regretting You. The author is Colleen Hoover,
Hoover.
right? So this is the first time I ever read a book by Miss Hoover. I don't know if either of you ever read a
First
book by
time.
her. I'm sorry?
First time, too.
All right, so let's just free flow it and just have some conversations about it. So let's give like a high level review about summary of what the book is about. Denise, tell the people.
Well, before we start, please click down here, or here, so you can join the book club.
Come on.
So a high overview.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with the characters.
Yeah.
Right? So we had the main characters, which was Morgan. She was the mom, the wife. We also had her down as Jonah's love, right? Then we had Chris, which was her husband, the father. And he was also Jenny's lover, which we'll find out who Jenny was. Why you had to sip in our ear like that, though? Then we'll find out who Jenny was. Why you had to sip in our ear like that, though? Then we had Jonah, who was the friend because he was their high school friend, and he ended up being also Morgan's love and Jenny's high school lover.
So you giving out all these names, and you're saying high school. So are you saying that the book center around a group of characters
Yes.
who began their relationships in high school?
Correct. Four main characters, which
Four
was
main
Morgan,
characters.
Chris, Jonah, and Jenny.
And there are two sisters who
Yes.
are Morgan and Jenny,
Yes.
right? And then Morgan, who's the older sister. Is that accurate?
Yes.
All right. She's married, or she became married to Chris
Correct.
because she got pregnant as a teenager. And then Jenny, who's the younger sister, had a relationship with the friend Jonah.
Jonah.
All right. Now, so the book begins talking about
Their high school
the
days.
high school
The friendship.
the development of relationships, and then it fast forward like in the second chapter, 17 years ahead, right?
16.
16 or 17?
Years?
Yeah, right when she got pregnant, or she found out.
She found out she was pregnant,
Yeah.
right? And so we leave from the point that she finds out that she's pregnant. We don't really know before that how she tells Chris that she's pregnant, right?
Right.
Because she's struggling about telling Chris, I'm pregnant, right?
Yes, because she's been trying to do it as they, go to parties or do this and do that, but she's been unable
Yeah.
to.
Eventually, she talks about how she mentioned it though.
Right. But that was kind of later on
Yeah.
in the
In the
book.
book.
And so Morgan and Chris get married, high school sweethearts, and then they have a daughter. And she enters into the book at the age of what, like 16, 17?
I think it was 16, maybe 17.
High school,
somewhere.
definitely.
Yes.
Because she was eventually trying to apply for college. So it's 11th grade, 12th grade, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
16
right?
or 17 between them.
And she is Clara.
Yes.
Okay. And then Clara's best friend
Lexi.
is Lexi. All right. So in the book, Morgan is like a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, she is.
All right. So you are a mother. Denise, is that accurate?
I am, yes.
Okay.
I have 2 handsome boys.
You have 2 children.
I am also single.
You
So if you see this podcast and you're interested, just click somewhere there.
Yeah, but let me tell you, this is my ex-wife. This is crazy. Okay. She'll be burning down your house. Don't do it, people. Okay. Run.
She's a great catch. Don't listen to her.
Thank you.
But no, she is the mother of my son, Davion, who you've heard on the podcast, or you haven't seen videos of him, I don't think. But you've heard him on the podcast. And yeah, she has a younger son as well. And so moving on back to the book, this is it, your like
This is not my
matchmaker.
matchmaking.
What the hell? You ain't paying me for this. All right.
We could make it a matchmaking.
All right. So Morgan is a stay-at-home mom, right? She had some dreams, aspirations. She wanted to do, I don't know, whatever. And ultimately, when she had her child, she kind of decided, I guess their relationship was better for the husband, Chris, to go and work, and she stay home and take care of Claire, right?
And she does mention that in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a struggle because she wanted, do you all remember what she wanted to do?
I
don't remember what she
forgot.
wanted to do.
I don't remember.
I honestly don't remember.
All right.
I don't even think she knows what she wanted to do.
Well, we know for a fact after everything happened, she was just confused as to what
Yeah.
she wanted to do.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so ultimately, so the characters, let's just talk about the involvement of the characters, the writing portions, because it is a book review. How do you all like the way that Colleen, the author, introduced the characters, talked about the characters, and did you feel like you understood who the characters were? Christian?
I think the whole book itself was well written. Like how she described everything. The only thing that left me hanging was the end.
Okay, well, we'll get there.
Yeah, but other than that, it was. I think it was well written. She did a good job.
I agree. I think the characters were very well introduced. Like we were never wondering who's this person or who's this person. It's like
Yeah.
we knew their flow into the story.
Yeah, so it's not a book that I would typically pick up on my own and read. And so, as I explained on the last episode, the way we kind of do the podcast is that every person picks a book, and no matter what happens, everyone has to read it, even if they don't like it. And then we meet virtually. We are in a chat group. We have a Teams group. We chat through that, and then we do a happy hour and discuss the book. But Colleen Hoover, I thought she did a good job of introducing the characters. The book, though, as you read the book, and if you decide to read the book, you hear it from the perspective of 2 people. And those 2 people really is Clara, who's the daughter, and Morgan. So every chapter switches between Morgan telling, what happened, and then Clara's perspective telling what happened. You don't really see the perspective of Chris, the husband, right? He's not really in the book because something is going to happen to him, and he's going to kind of drop out. You don't know Jenny's perspective either, right? Because it's just from the perspective of Morgan
And Clara.
And nor do you see, what's his name, Jonah or Josh?
Jonah.
Jonah's perspective, because again, it's from Morgan and Clara. So let's just jump to some of like the juicy things that will happen. So eventually, what happened?
So it was the day after Morgan's birthday.
It was.
It was the day after Morgan's birthday. Jenny was going, or she was supposed to be going back to work because she just had a baby. She was on maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
So it was her first day back.
Who she had that baby with though?
Jonah.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in mind. It was her first day back. They were supposed to be driving, and Chris was also going to work. They work at the same place.
Hospital, yeah.
Chris is the what would you call him? Medical director.
Yeah, like the medical director.
Yeah, and Jenny's a nurse, and someone else can take it on.
And so like he mentioned, so she was going back to work after maternity. So she went to drop the baby off Morgan because Morgan was the one that was going to take care of the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if they actually get in the same car. If Chris,
No,
They don't know that until later.
so they actually drove separately.
They drove separately.
Drove separate. So remember, so the thing is like every year they throw for everyone's birthday, the family
A
get
barbecue,
together and they
right.
throw like a barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Morgan's birthday. Jenny was expected to go to work the next day. They all sit at the table. Chris is looking at Jenny is like basically, hey, are you excited about tomorrow?
Right.
But everyone is presuming that the excitement is
Her
I'm
returning to
going
work.
back to work, right? But what happens is that next day there's a car accident apparently, and that car accident kills both Jenny and Chris.
Yep.
Okay, Jenny, Morgan's sister, and Chris, Morgan's husband.
They were in the same car.
Yeah. So
Spoiler alert.
I know, exactly. Spoiler alert. So ultimately they were in the same car. There was a car crash and they died.
Yes.
And so there is a whirlwind of what's going on because Morgan gets a call from the hospital. You need to come in about Chris.
Correct.
Now, mind you, her sister works at the same hospital, and they don't tell her anything.
And she
about
tries
it.
to call Jenny because she kept
Exactly.
calling her and calling her.
She's trying to call Jenny. She's getting like frantic because she need like, chick, come get your damn baby.
Right.
I know it's my nephew, but I have an emergency type
Yeah.
thing, right?
She was also calling Jenny to like,
Try-
because she was supposed to be at work, so she was like, maybe she knows something.
Right.
Right. And so Morgan gets to the hospital. She's frantic, right? She's like, what the fuck's going on? Blah, blah, blah. No one's really telling her anything because obviously they already know he gone, right? So she then says, basically, let me see to talk to my sister, right? Jenny, because contact Jenny, she's a nurse here.
Right.
So I can get some information. And then they're basically giving her the runaround,
Right.
like what's going on. And then I don't know if she finds out before Jonah gets there, but I think it's after because Jonah arrives at the hospital because they also called Jonah to tell him about Jenny.
But I think she finds out before Jonah gets there that Jenny is not there because they did tell
Yeah,
her
yeah,
that
yeah.
Jenny wasn't at work.
That's
So
true.
she kept thinking, why is this?
Oh yeah, the girl was like, yeah, she's not even on schedule. She wasn't coming back.
And she was like, but she left my house to come here.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but she's frantic. She's not putting two to two together, right? And so, and then Jonah gets at the hospital and he sees Morgan,
Right.
and he's like, well, what happened to Jenny, basically? And Morgan's like, what are you talking about? I'm here for Chris.
And she thought that Jonah was there to actually get the baby.
Exactly. And so, go ahead. Someone tell him what happened.
So, like you said, so technically Morgan is like, here's the baby, whatnot, and he's like, it was just like they were wondering, well, why are you here and why are you here? And eventually they tell each other, well, I'm here for Chris, and he's like, well, I'm here because I got called for Jenny. And so that's when they're like, both of them together? Like, what happened?
Well, not Morgan. Morgan is still kind of
yeah.
naive about it. It is Jonah.
Jonah's the first one.
It's like,
Yeah.
why were they together? Like, what the fuck's going on? Excuse me. Now, for those of you who are viewing the podcast and not listening to the podcast, you will notice that we are not in our normal location. We are actually in Virginia Beach.
Yes.
That
Corona.
means the
We're not a beautiful
podcast
beach
is
view.
traveling people. So we're in a new location, so I don't have my bar with all of my drinks, but yeah, I'm just going to.
And he doesn't
refill
have that thing that makes that noise.
the hookah.
The hookah.
Yeah, and while we're at it, we were actually here to celebrate Denise's birthday on yesterday. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you, 29 years old.
Yeah, add 10 to that and then plus 5 because she,
What?
she don't, she.
Again, guys, I'm single.
Mhm.
So click here, 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 or here.
So anyway, yeah, so we were here and we decided to just talk about the book.
Yes.
So yeah, so then,
So eventually they figure out that, both of them died
Right.
and whatnot, and so they make the funeral arrangements. But Morgan actually decides to do them separately, which Clara seems not to understand because she feels like they had the same friends since they did
yeah,
almost
same
everything
people. Both,
together.
why are we doing 2 funerals? The same fucking
Right.
people that's coming. Like today is Tuesday, then we're gonna have another one on tomorrow. Why don't you just lay them the rest?
And that's exactly how she did it.
Yeah.
Today was Chris's or Jenny, I think.
Yeah,
and
the
then
first
the
one
next
was-
day
Yeah, was the next
was the
person.
other one.
Maybe she just wanted to grieve them, like, separately.
Yeah,
But then at the
we,
end of the book,
we
she
find out
says
why.
why she did it.
cause she was like, this isn't right. Something isn't right.
Right. She had that
She was
feeling.
pissed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she didn't want to unearth that feeling because it was easier to be in the darkness than in the light.
Right.
So that's how she did it. Now, Clara, who is Morgan's daughter, they
And
have
Chris's daughter.
and Chris's daughter, but they kind of have the typical teenage mother-father relationship, right? She
Yes.
is rebellious in her own right, but she adores Jenny, right? Jenny's her aunt, but Jenny is also, even though she's her aunt, Jenny comes off as like one of the cool folks, like you
Like
know,
if she was her friend, not really
Right.
her aunt, but more of her
right.
friend.
So she would give her advice, but throughout the book, what you finally realize is that Jenny wasn't really giving her advice because she really didn't know crap. What was happening
Morgan.
is that she was really talking to Clara's mom, and Morgan was giving her the advice, and she would relate it to Clara. But I say all that to say that throughout the book, there is this tension between Morgan and Clara throughout this ordeal, right? And both of them are holding secret from one another, right? So what are those secrets? Or did you peep up on that?
There's a lot, I just don't think they talk at all.
I know, but related to the situation of Jenny and Chris's death, what were the secrets that you found Clara to be holding and Morgan to be holding? Did y'all pick up on that?
Mhm. Well, Clara felt because Clara, the book actually starts with Clara driving and she sees this guy that she doesn't know yet if she likes, but she kind of feels there's something going in there. And so she turns around because she thinks he's stranded to try to give him a ride.
Right.
So, so that's kind of how the book starts. So they actually end up talking. She ends up taking him home. And so she's excited about that. She texts on Jenny. And the next day when she's going to school, she's trying to text on Jenny for something. I can't remember what it was about the guy that she was trying to get advice. So that's one of the secrets she's holding. She feels guilty because she thinks that by texting her, that caused the accident.
Right, texting and driving.
Because Morgan told her, this is Morgan's secret now with Clara, was instead of telling them that they were actually together, she kind of said that Chris had a flat tire, Jenny went to pick him up, or the other way around.
Yeah, someone had a flat tire there. One of them was trying to help the other. And ultimately...
Since they're going to the same place, they just ended up picking the other person. And so
Right.
those were the secrets that I felt they were holding against each other, like
Right.
they were keeping from
In
each
the
other.
beginning, I feel like Morgan believed that too, though.
Yeah,
She was, at least she wanted to believe that.
right,
Yeah.
That it was a flat tire and that was it.
right.
Her female intuition knew.
Right.
She was just like we do. You know, we get those signs and we just.
Okay, now. All right, so it's so freaking, you know, this is why I read the books, yeah. Now,
Actually, I
be
liked
quiet.
it at the beginning.
All right, so
Listen, I was just blinded.
Mhm.
Blinded.
She was Morgan.
Yes. I
Okay.
sure was.
So throughout the book, Morgan and Claire are at odds and at tension with each other, right? Claire is pissed that her auntie is gone, the person who she would go with. She's also pissed at her mom because she feels like her mom isn't really doing what she needs to do to like move forward. Like her mom goes in this moment of grief where she is pretty much just like laying in the bed, not
Like
showering, depressed, right? And that goes on for some time, right?
I mean, I don't see what she expected.
Right, more you talking about Clara.
Yeah, like why wouldn't her mom grieve? She lost her husband, even though he was a piece of shit.
I just think it was the fact that they didn't get to sit with each
Yeah.
other to discuss the death. Like,
And that's
it
the
was-
whole issue why they were having problems, because they
Yeah.
were talking. They were both. I feel like Morgan was the one that she could have avoided all of this if she was honest from the beginning.
About what really happened.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. So one thing on the book then is really about parents trying to protect their children from knowing the truth about issues and complicated things. And it, at here today, the only parents here is Denise and I. I know you got a dog. I know you got a dog, but
3.
but
I'm
All
a
right.
dog dad.
all right. But I'm sure you have experience as well, even with your own parents. So maybe you have an opinion about it. So what do you all think about that? Do you feel like parents should be truthful about situations, even if it may taint their children's perspective about a person?
I mean, I think it depends the situation. Something like that, I would have sat down with him and told him, you know, hey, dad was cheating on mom. Dad had an accident with who he was cheating with. And now you and I are here left alone. However, dad left us money.
You are so unknown.
I'm saying, like,
So we're
stuff
not
like
broke.
that. He is she, technically, Clara's a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
It's
she
not like
understood
it's my youngest. Had it been my youngest, then I probably want to not tell him. You know what I mean?
right away. Yeah.
But a 16-year-old, I think they are mature enough to be able to understand it. And I would have preferred they actually hear it from me than they go to the funeral and then people start speculating, oh, why were they together? And because it was people from the hospital, so I'm pretty sure conversations were happening as to they died together.
Yeah.
You know.
But what about wanting to protect her? Morgan wanted to protect Clara's perspective about her dad. Her dad was her hero.
Yeah, that's her.
So she looked at him as a superhero, and so Morgan didn't want to taint that. What's your perspective on that?
I mean, I don't think it should be tainted because the relationship between the daughter and dad has nothing to do with how dad was with the aunt or with mom. You see what I'm saying? Your relationship with Davian is your relationship with Davian. That's just separate. That should never be tainted no matter what you do because that's the relationship. I don't know if you understand what I'm
Yeah,
trying
no,
to
I
say.
hear you. But what do you think?
No, I agree with that. It's her relationship with her dad is different than Chris's and Morgan's relationship.
Right.
But what about the fact that she saw her dad as someone who could never do that? And so she saw her dad as this flawless individual who doesn't have any flaws. Well, flawless, duh, means don't have any flaws. Stupid. But you know,
Mr. Know-it-all.
she saw him as this person, like, he's perfect. He's an angel. Like, he would never do any of these things.
Well, I think that's the first error because you should not see somebody as being
Flaws,
perfect.
yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm sorry. Dad has his flaws.
Okay.
I will be the first one telling, I'm sorry, Dad is not perfect.
Okay, so so Jonah, let's switch back to Jonah. Okay, so Jonah is the one who kept coming to Morgan is like, yo, we gonna talk about this shit or what? Like, my girl was with your fucking husband and we just walking around like nothing happened. Like, what are we doing? So what do you all think about that? The persistence that Jonah wanted to find out and talk about what happened, even though no one really, the two people who were cheating are dead.
Right.
So any answers you're not going to really
Get.
get necessarily, except for there probably were some answers, right? Because what did Morgan find in the garage in a toolbox?
Letters
from Jenny.
Jenny, that little whore.
To
Chris, yeah. and even throughout the book, what you notice about Chris and Morgan's relationship is, I mean, this is just my opinion. My opinion is that relationship was tethered by the fact that they had Clara, and Clara was the reason they were together. Because I didn't feel like Chris.
And there was love.
I don't think so, and I also don't think that he understood Morgan. He understood her desires and needs. Because just take, for instance, they're Jolly Ranchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Josh or Jonah, what the hell is his name? Jonah would not eat the watermelon when they were kids, high school. He wouldn't eat the watermelon, Jolly Ranchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he knew that Morgan, his girlfriend's sister, loved watermelon.
Right.
And so he would tell her, I hate watermelon, so that's the only reason I don't use them. But for her birthday, the day before they died, what did he bring her?
I don't think he told her though. I don't think she assumed that he hated them.
He just saved them.
I know, but I thought he told her when they were little, he didn't like watermelon.
No.
Because
I don't think he ever told her. No,
yes.
He would just save it. And
because remember, at the end is that he tells her, I never said I didn't like them.
Yeah.
He tells her that at the end. He said, I never said.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I am actually going to be the host of this show, and you're going to be the guest because technically you're in Virginia Beach.
Take over.
Thank you. So before we actually go into that, we have to explain the fact that at the beginning of the book, though, just so they can understand, at the beginning of the book, Morgan kind of talks about her relationship with Jonah, and she kind of lets us with that hanging feeling of, were they together?
I thought they were going to cheat.
I thought Clara, I thought she got pregnant from Jonah. For some reason, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But
I
then,
didn't think that, but I thought they were the ones that were going to cheat.
I know, because of the way she kept talking about their relationship, but she always kind of made it seem like Chris was more compatible with Jenny, and she was more compatible with Jonah.
Yeah, but I don't think I saw it that way. I saw her discussion about that early on, is that opposites attract, and that she was more akin to Jonah, but I didn't take it that she would. I don't think she really fully explained her understandings and feelings in Jonah until they died, because then it began to unravel. I know that she disliked him for a moment.
Well, he did go away.
Right.
That's he came back
and that's why she disliked
before.
him.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he just left.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I don't think that at the beginning when she was discussing, like, we're different and I'm with Chris who is really more like Jenny, I don't think she understood fully, at least she didn't accept fully, that she had any kind of feelings for Jonah.
I wouldn't say she didn't understand. I think she knew. She just didn't want to
Like, I'm the
accept
only one
it.
drinking on this podcast over here.
What am I a ghost? Did you not see me? This is my second time.
Oh, you poured that? Nah.
Again, I'm the host,
Selfish.
you're the guest.
Only cares about himself.
Oh my god.
All right.
Anyways,
Keep going.
I think she knew how she felt about Jonah, but she didn't want to admit it.
Maybe
Right,
that's
because
true.
she got pregnant, and I guess in her mind was
Yeah.
like, well, now I have to have a relationship with Chris because I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
So we didn't talk about the theme of cheating though. So cheating is throughout the book.
Let's talk about cheating.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. So let's talk about it. What do you all think about the fact that Jonah? No, let's scratch that. Sorry. The fact that Morgan's sister cheated with her husband.
With Chris?
Shitty.
I think so too. That
Like, if you're gonna, don't cheat with your wife's sister.
right, that's like
Or
a
just
no.
like a family member in general. Like,
Listen, I have two sisters. We fight all the time, but I love them. But I would never look at their man and be like, oh, I want you. That's just a no. Like, who does that?
But do you think it's a harder blow to swallow that you've been cheated on, but the cheater is your sip your
Yes.
blood.
Yes, that would devastate me.
For sure.
But it's your opinion. Remember, I'm the host.
I mean, I guess for me, cheating is cheating. We talked about this on one podcast before.
But what if it was your brother?
And yeah, I think I would be pissed. I'm not sure I would even went to the funeral, honestly.
To Jenny's funeral?
Yeah. If I was Morgan.
I mean, but technically, remember, they were all they had. Because it was just them and the mom. And I think the mom had
passed
already
away,
passed.
Right, but that makes it even worse. Like, that's all throughout this time, you've been the person I've been talking to the entire time about my relationship. You're the only person I've talked to about the relationship. Every sexual escapade that Jenny went through, Morgan was there to listen, try to talk her through. It was all, so for me, it's like, how can you be so disrespectful to me? I mean, we're blood. Like, I wouldn't have went to the funeral. Point blank.
Well, I would have cremated her. Nobody's about to
Let her go.
be cremated.
Bye-bye.
No, that's what I would have done because it's just them. So, I mean, feeling that way, yeah, that's what I would have done. The body's not going to be viewed. You're about to be cremated.
Mhm.
And where's the garbage?
Yeah. Then again, keep in mind that Morgan, even for the funeral, she never like fully admitted to herself, oh, like why were they together?
Yeah. She
It
was in
was
denial.
after,
She knew,
yeah.
but she was in denial.
Yeah.
But we didn't. I know we started this part, but let's talk about the letters.
Mhm.
So, Morgan finds letters in her husband's toolbox. The
No,
letter-
it was her toolbox. Remember?
No,
No, it was
Chris-
Chris's
it was-
toolbox.
Yeah, she had to. It was blocked, so she had
It
to.
was
like,
Chris's
Oh, that's
toolbox.
right.
And he had a lock on it. And Jonah was trying to fix this door. There's a door that Morgan hates, a swinging door.
The kitchen door.
And she goes in one day, goes berserk, and just like rah, 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 and tear it off the hinges. Right?
She didn't make that noise, but that, yeah.
That's what I imagined in my head.
It would have been like more like.
Yeah. It was out of anger because she was.
Yeah, she was just pissed.
She hammered it down.
She didn't like the door anyway. It was his parents' house. It was an older house. She hated the swinging kitchen country door.
She hated the house.
Yeah, hated the house. And so anyhow, Jonah is basically like, I don't have the tools. And he's like, well, can I go to Chris's, try to open up the lock of Chris's thing. He goes, he opens the lock, breaks the lock, and he's like flabbergasted when he opens it because what does he find in the toolbox?
The letters.
Love letters.
No, we don't know if they were love letters. They were
Okay.
letters.
We will never know.
Right.
There were letters from Jenny to Chris. And so Jonah doesn't want to look at them, right? No,
I think
initially
does.
he wanted
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, initially he's like, yeah, let's open the shit up so we can find out how long it's been going on. You know,
I think he wanted Morgan to do it first, though.
Yes.
That's why he didn't do it.
and then Morgan decided she was going to wait. She takes them, she puts them in the drawer
In her room.
in her room. And long story short, ultimately it goes back and forth, back and forth. She never opens the letters. She just like rips
Shreds
them up
them,
and
yeah.
shreds them.
Not me.
What do you think about that?
Oh, I would have sat right there and read those letters.
Don't
Jonah, here's
say-
one. Here's the other. We're about to read this and find out what
We can
happened.
switch back and forth.
What about with Clara, the daughter? Would you have shared the letters?
No, I wouldn't have gone that deep.
Why?
Because I've already, like you said, she has that image of dad being her hero and whatnot. We already telling her that, hey, dad may have been in a relationship with Jenny. Why hurt her more? I don't think she has to know more than that.
Why? Isn't that still keeping secrets and hiding the truth from her?
No.
The letters have nothing to do with like. She already knows like Dad and Jenny were cheating with each other.
Well, but she doesn't believe it. Remember, Clara doesn't really. It wasn't until like the
Claire's
last
the
two.
one that like figures it out though.
No, that's not accurate.
That is accurate.
No, that's
Yes.
not accurate. She doesn't. She figures out at the last couple of the last. You mean
The
she?
chapters.
You mean she figured it out on her own without
Yes.
Morgan telling her?
Yep.
Not that she's the one that uncovered that Morgan,
Yeah,
Chris
yeah,
and
yeah,
Jenny
yeah.
were.
She never thought that, but
Yeah.
she's the one that figured it out.
But okay, so this goes back to the author's introduction of the characters and discussion of characters. From what you read and knowing of Clara, I don't think she would have believed if Morgan would have told her the truth, because she had this image of Jenny and she had this image of her dad. And I just don't think she would have believed that they were cheating with each other. What do you think?
I could see that. She could be in denial, but I think in the long run she would have believed it.
All right. But you would have opened the letters.
Yes, definitely.
100%.
I wouldn't have told her though. I still stand by not telling her about the letters. I don't see that as lying. I just see that as
You already told her.
they have no
Yeah.
significance. You know what I mean? We already know that they were cheating. But I wouldn't have read the letters because I want to know. I want to know when it started, why it started, how it started. I want to know everything.
All right. So we've been talking for a little bit, so let's take a quick break and then we will be back to Peeps, the cafe.
Hot stuff coming up.
Welcome to Peeps.
All right, and we are back. All right, so we were just talking about the letters and not knowing what would happen. At the end of the day, I would have read the letters and I would have showed them to Claire. Okay.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't have. She already knows that they were both cheating with each other.
Right.
There's no more. You don't need to add more fuel to that fire.
What do you think you're gonna accomplish by
Yeah.
telling her about the letters?
It's like, are you gonna show her the letters too?
That way I won't be instilling upon her what I think she should feel or know about the situation. It's for her to know and take from that and figure out how she wants to process it.
Right.
I'll be there to talk with her about it, but my feelings about it shouldn't be thrown on her
But I feel
or
like
projected on her.
by telling her about the letters, that's exactly what you're doing because you've already told her, by the way, your aunt died because she was cheating with your dad. So by you actually telling her, and these letters existed, it's like you're telling her, because I'm
Because
sure
they're
you're
trying to
upset
prove
about the
something.
letters.
No, I get that too. I think the way I would have did it is this way. I don't think Claire would have believed me anyway
Right.
if I was Morgan.
I agree.
And I would have said to her, listen, I'm just telling you what I understand the facts to be. They're both gone, they're both dead. No one can tell us what really happened.
Right.
But here's what I'm going to do. There were letters between Chris and Jenny. They're going to be on the table for 24 hours. Okay? You can choose to look at them if you want. You can choose not. Once you look at them, if you want to have a conversation about it, let's have a conversation about it. If you choose you don't want to look at them, that is your prerogative.
But what conversation can you guys have? Again, the
We
only
can-
people that can answer that are going to be the people that are dead. So there's technically no answers that you can give her about those letters.
Yeah, but we can talk about her emotions, her feelings. Let's talk about it. How processing that. What does it feel like? What can I do to try to help you with that? I can't give you answers, but certainly she might want to know more about our particular relationship. You know, what was going on in your relationship? Did y'all have an open marriage? Were you faithful to dad or mom? Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, have those real conversations, because I don't think here's my thing. Like you and I, right? We have a kid.
I was just about to say, David, I'm gonna try not to have to put you through all of this.
But what I'm
Because your
saying,
dad is just going.
listen. You and I have a child. Like, we've had our moments where we go head and head and fight, right?
Yes, we do.
But I would say that we do a very good job of recognizing that this is bullshit, because at the end of the day, Davion is what matters.
Yes.
Like, the impact on him. And so I don't think parents do that a lot. Like, they're so caught up in their emotion that they are like doing shit at each other, but not thinking about how is this going to impact the child, right? And sometimes they wait until it's too late, because I just think as minorities, particularly, we don't do a good job of doing those heart-to-heart conversations about the tough issues like that.
Right.
And so that's just my opinion. But yeah,
We respect it.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And for those of you out there that are looking, and for those of you who are listening,
I am
you
single.
can tell by the authority that I speak that I am accurate in this, okay? So
Alright.
follow me because I would never lead you astray.
I think we've spent enough time talking about the letters. We should talk about Jonah now.
Thank you.
because
Thank you,
that's
host. Thank you.
I'm a great host.
Yes, you are.
Follow me.
Are
on
we going to
Instagram.
talk about the paintings real quick?
Oh yeah.
Actually, yes.
behind
You can
us.
click here for his Instagram, wherever the camera is.
And for her Instagram, and you can slide in her DMs.
Yes,
She's
please.
single.
All right.
Send me a picture first. I need to know the age.
Oh my God, this is a book review. Y'all are so
You're
annoying.
like, I need to know your age.
Listen, that could be my book. I could actually write a book about
But
it.
we're not, and I won't read it. Okay, boring. Been there, done that.
She did-
Snore fest.
Alright, so Denise did mention the paintings. This one right here, this masterpiece, done by me, and then the other one.
And we still don't know what this purple here actually is. And I actually looked at the kid, just went through the water and was drowning.
Anyway, all right, so let's go back to what matters because
Yes,
people
yes,
really don't
yes.
care about that. Now, what were you saying?
39 and
Well-
single. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Come on, Cristhian.
But when are we going to talk about Miller though? Because we haven't mentioned Miller.
Wait,
The book
you
started
just
with Miller.
he was
Wait,
just
we need to talk about Jonah first. 'cause
Okay. Let's
Jonah.
talk about Jonah.
Alright, so Jonah, back in high school, he was dating Jenny, and then once he finds out that Morgan got pregnant, he kind of just leaves.
The next day, because the
Yeah.
way she mentions it, it's like the next day that she said it, he left.
Yep, he just got up and left, and then a couple years later, his dad died, and Jenny decided to go to the funeral.
Mhm.
So she flew out there. They had a one-night stand, and
She got pregnant.
she got pregnant. And I do think that she went over there, had the one-night stand, knowing she was pregnant.
I agree.
I agree.
So she wanted to.
Now that I read the book.
Yeah, she wanted to like make Jonah look like.
Fucking slut.
But, alright, so she goes, has a one night stand, gets pregnant, and Jonah steps in,
Mhm.
or steps up, and he was like, alright, we're gonna have this kid together, we're gonna be together, like, so he moves back, this and that. Morgan felt some type of way, because he just left before, so, he never, like, I don't think he ever had a clue of anything that was going on.
Until after they
Until,
died.
Till the day of the accident, that's when he was like, why were they doing that? He was the only one that was like questioning it.
So you say all that, so what's the big piece? Like,
That Jenny had the baby,
mm-hmm.
and
Dun dun dun.
I'm sure you all can guess what happened.
The baby wasn't Jonah's, it was
No.
Chris's baby. So
And that was
technically,
baby Elijah.
Elijah was technically Clara's brother, half brother.
Which they do mention, I think it was Clara who wanted Morgan to have another baby,
Yeah.
or maybe Morgan
yeah,
or something like
she
that.
wanted a brother, or something, but she didn't want to try.
Yeah. So Jonah isn't the baby daddy. So this was Maury.
You are not
You
the father.
are not the father.
And it just came like one day he just woke up and just looked at the baby and said, "This smile," or something. It was the dimples. It was
Yeah.
the dimples that
Yeah,
made
yeah,
him
yeah.
realize that
That
the
it was
baby-
Chris. This is not
Right.
my baby. But the thing is though, he was taking care of the baby. He had this realization. He was just like, you know what? Fuck this.
This is
This
not
is
my
not my baby. And he drops the baby.
Off at Morgan's.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Before we go to eventually what happens afterwards. What
I
do
feel
you
like
think about that?
He could have used that break. Like he just had a big revelation.
Right.
The baby wasn't his. He's been with a person that told him that that was his baby when it wasn't.
Right. He didn't love her. Technically, he was just with her because of the baby.
Basically, yeah,
So,
exactly. The
listen.
same thing Morgan did.
Right.
So you think it's cool for him to drop off the baby and be like, I just need a reprieve?
Well, I don't think it's cool, but I understand why it was done. You know, at the end of the day, this is not my baby. However, this is your husband's baby. Here's the baby. So I don't blame him.
Okay.
And either way, she ended up being the baby mom.
Right.
Who been the baby mom?
Morgan.
Okay. So I'm not sure that he deserved it. I get why he did it. But he loved Elijah.
He did. I mean, but he was hurt. He's finding out, I don't blame
Days
him.
after, like, they
Just
died.
2 or 3 days after,
Yeah. I
So
mean,
you look
it's
at his
like-
baby, you see the dimples, and it's like, oops.
Yeah, and let me do a moment of clarification when we were talking about Jenny going purposely to have sex with Jonah, and I said slut because men do that all the time. This isn't me using the word slut because I have any gender bias or think that it's only applicable to women. Chris was a slut too. Okay, go ahead. I just wanted to clarify that because it could be seen like I'm being like.
And remember, you may have
sexist.
younger
Exactly.
listening to the podcast.
Exactly. So I want to be clear on that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Where were we?
Jonah realizing that the baby was not his, dropping him off at Morgan. Clara kind of not understanding why the baby was with Morgan. Because he
And
kind
Morgan,
of.
It was
Morgan knew.
Right.
And again, this is the moment where she didn't tell the truth. This is the moment where she could have stood on her ground
I agree.
and said, "Look, your dad and your auntie, they want shit."
Right.
She ain't had
And
to say
this is
that.
the problem.
But it was Claire, the one that, like, went to his house, to Jonah's house,
Right.
and basically was like, you need to get up your ass, go get your kid, like, get your shit together, your house is a mess, I'll clean it,
Right.
like,
Right.
and
Which was
that's
a
when he
big
realized-
moment for her.
It was, yeah.
And in the book, I thought the author did a very good job
I
of
agree.
highlighting that this was an adult moment. That Clara, 16,
she was
17,
matured, yeah.
realized, look, my mom is a piece of shit right now, and I'm not talking about a piece of shit because she's a bad parent.
No,
like,
depressed.
just
She's also going through the
mentally,
fact.
emotionally.
Yeah.
Jonah, who is not only is he her uncle, quote unquote,
He's her teacher.
he's her teacher, right? And so he's a fucking mess. Let me step up and put aside what I feel about the situation and go make it right.
Right.
So
And
I
she
thought that
did,
was a very
because
good big moment.
She made him
Yeah.
wake up and
Yeah.
go get the baby.
Yeah, which is important as parents, I think. Particularly is like we think sometimes that we know everything. That's what's best for the children.
Yeah, you do.
And no, you do
No,
because
no.
you're very overprotective.
No,
but
no, you
you
think
both
you know
do.
everything. Oh, okay, well,
Mm,
Christian
Let's
has
just,
spoken.
no, exactly. Like,
the host.
okay. so yeah.
You've been downgraded to the guest. Host, co-host, guest.
Thank you. You out of here. You about to.
It was nice being here. I will take my wine with me and go.
All right. So what about Morgan and Jonah eventually realizing? Well, Jonah already knew that he loved
They
her.
both knew.
Okay, but in the book,
Right.
the way it was presented, the author, you knew very early on that Jonah had a thing for Morgan.
Right.
I think.
And I caught on, me personally, that Morgan as well. Because again,
Yeah, no,
for
I thought
the
that's-
longest, I thought that Clara was gonna end up being Jonas for some reason, just the way she was explaining.
I thought that. Honestly, I did think that it somewhat, but not early on. I thought it later on, but not early.
Not me.
I didn't think that at all, to be honest. I always knew that they both had an attraction to each other. Like when they were at the party in the beginning of the book,
Mhm.
Yeah.
they were like, Morgan gave him a look because she was it Jonah the one that was gonna be the DD?
Yeah.
The
No,
designated
it was
driver?
no. It was Morgan was supposed to be the designated driver.
Okay.
And then, but Chris was like, and this goes back to my other point earlier that they really didn't know each other, like
Yeah.
for real,
Yeah.
because Chris didn't pick up on the fact that his girlfriend was
Not
not
that
acting
right, yeah.
normal,
Yeah.
because she didn't want to drink because she was pregnant, right? So you,
Well, she didn't know
She didn't know.
was pregnant.
She realized that
right.
same night in the
Yeah.
car. She was like, "Oh, I'm late."
okay, yes, but again, this goes to him not picking up on the small things.
But do
about
men
the-
ever pick up though?
And that's what I'm getting at with Jonah and her. Like, she literally just gave Jonah a look, and he
He
knew
knew
what she was.
immediately.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
he was like, "No, I'm designated driver
Right,
today." Yeah.
right. She didn't have to go and say like, please act like you're the
Yeah.
designated driver. And that
So
goes
that's
to
how you know that they were both.
That
like,
connection that they
exactly,
had.
and that goes to your point. Do men pick up? Yes, Jonah. That's a prime example. Jonah picked up.
It's
But
all
that's
about
if you
being
have that
compatible,
connection
yeah.
though, right? It's a
Not everyone
compatibility.
is like
Thank you.
the same. Like some people don't catch on. Some people are just oblivious. Like they don't catch on to the small.
I mean, but I think I pick up on small things.
No. Let me go. I'm sorry. I'm the host now. You are right, because I didn't like him to begin with, and I should have gone with my gut instinct of he ain't shit, and I did not. And now look at us. So you are right. I actually agree.
Oh my God, you are so annoying. First of all, that's not for this podcast. We can always record a second episode.
Their vibes were off that day.
No, because again, and this is what I feel, because I told you guys when I read the book that there were so many signs, and it's like she didn't listen to the signs. She starts the book talking about that compatibility that they have. She has it with Jonah. Chris has it with Jenny because they were more compatible when it came to partying. She and Jonah were more reserved. When they were at the lake or the beach, that she already knew, and she wanted to actually tell Chris that she was pregnant.
She told Jonah first.
Right, so my point is, there's so many signs that we actually get, and we just blind ourselves or just don't want to accept them.
Very true.
And then we get deep in the hole and can't come out.
Yeah, but okay, I just want to say this.
Morgan was also a pussy. She never like stood up for anything or said anything or spoke up.
But okay, so fundamentally, this is just my perspective. Just because a relationship ends doesn't mean that that you should never been together. Like now, Chris and Morgan, I just thought early on they never should have been together because they got together for the wrong reason.
Right.
They got together for the sanctity of the fact that she was pregnant, right? In my opinion, like Morgan at least expressed herself early on as they got into a relationship that he didn't really know small things about her, and vice versa. She didn't know small things about him. It was Jenny who knew all the small things. Like Jenny was buying him all these birthday gifts that Morgan was like, Chris would never like.
He's not gonna like. Was it a painting?
Like a painting. It was these chairs outside, right? So almost everything in their house that was related to Chris, it was Jenny who brought that into the home. Someone else.
You're saying she expressed herself, but she really did. She kept that all in. She expressed herself, or the author expressed that in the book.
Right.
But she never said anything. Like I feel
Morgan.
like
Yes.
Morgan never spoke up about her being more compatible with Jonah because Jonah was with the sister, so she didn't want to hurt anyone.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like.
I think you're going back to my comment of we blind ourselves.
Yes,
and
but
I
ignoring
guess,
the sign, because I just feel like sometimes the signs are not necessarily signs. Sometimes we add things into things, our perspective. We all have baggage. We come to the table with baggage. No matter how you try to unravel it, no matter how educational you, or how astute you may think you are, there are emotional scars that we bring to every table. But what I don't think we do a good job of is discussing those things early on. Like we get into relationships because there's attraction or...
And I was going to say that. I actually should have said that they were young, so maybe didn't understand the signs.
Right. But
now as the age, 39 that I'm now, but 38 when I was actually reading the book, I probably would...
That's so annoying.
No,
24 hours ago?
Right. No, but I would have been like, I have no compatibility with him. So why am I even with him? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I would have allowed myself to even, the first day, if I don't feel that compatibility, why am I even trying to continue it? Like, don't waste my time. So I guess I will take that back because they were young and maybe didn't understand,
it was
all
her
of that.
high school sweetheart,
Right.
Yeah.
Or
and
so she thought.
She thought that, oh, I'm pregnant, I'm having a kid with you, like...
We have to be together.
Exactly.
So ultimately at the end, Morgan and Jonah gets together. Clara initially is pissed because this is before she finds out that Jenny and Chris were cheating.
She actually finds them kissing.
Yeah.
Right.
And she goes berserk. She starts drinking with her friend Lexi. She's drunk.
She loses her virginity.
She has sex with some old fucking weirdo, Clara.
No, he is
To
not
get
a
back,
weirdo.
we'll get to that at the end. But to get back at her mom, she loses her virginity.
She did a lot of things that she shouldn't have done.
Yeah. Now,
She was mad.
but that
She was
goes.
just acting up.
But that also goes to Morgan as a mother. Like at some point, Like, you have to like
Discipline your kids.
discipline.
Right,
your
because
children.
what she did in the school to the mom, oh gosh, Dagan would have.
Yeah, he would have got beat right there.
Right there in the school, yep. And anybody who gets in
And,
is gonna get it too.
and after I beat his behind, I was gonna say another word. I would have gave him my phone and I would have dialed 911 and I would have told him to tell him where he at.
You hear that, Lucky? Oh, beat your ass.
Yeah. So she was a little disrespectful.
Very disrespectful. Not a little. She
Yeah,
was
very
very
disrespectful. Very rude. But you know, the thing is also like that's another thing I thought a large thing that I thought the author did good with is the fact that people don't know how to deal with grief.
Right. She was just hoping the best way she thought that she
Right.
could with
Exactly.
emotions.
And we don't do a good job, and when I say we, I say adults particularly.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do a good job of recognizing that children grieve differently.
Right.
Children process things differently. And it's not always a good idea to just let them do it on their own.
Right.
Like sometimes you need to jump in and get help.
Yeah, and Morgan even mentioned it. She was like, I'm gonna wait a couple like months or something before having her talk to someone.
Right. And sometimes
But,
you just need to
yeah.
jump in and get some help.
Even from the beginning, there was just no communication with them
Yeah.
at all.
I think if she would have, since the beginning, explained to her what happened, they probably could have gotten the help right then and there, because
Yeah.
that would have been traumatic. There you go. No,
Yeah.
that's not how you say it. How you say it in English?
Traumatic.
Traumatic, you said it,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But yeah,
Sorry.
no.
Did we lose you?
Yeah, you drunk?
What were we saying?
Anyway, so so there are a lot of things that we could talk about in the book. We've been talking about the book on and on.
And we have now talked about Miller.
Yeah, but why? I mean, he was a
Because
fucking psycho.
He
No,
was
he
a
is
big
not.
part of the book.
All right, so
Clara.
let's talk about Miller. I can sum Miller up in 2 sentences.
No.
Okay? So Miller is this little weird kid, right? Like, if I was Clara's dad, there's no way she would be.
But if you
Well,
were
Clara's
that,
dad didn't want him to.
Let me tell you,
Well,
and he had
that's true,
he had
that's
the
true.
right instinct because the boy was psycho. Okay.
no,
They
it wasn't
were-
because of the boy. It was because of his father. Remember,
Yes,
because
'cause
his
they went to
father,
school.
they were in high school together.
Yeah, like father, like son. They both were fucking crazy.
His father was in jail.
Okay, but okay, I mean, but I don't really think Miller was important. I think Miller was
He was
a distraction for Clara.
No,
No.
he was a
And-
big part. He was basically like in half of the book.
He was kind of her
For
healer,
Claire's, yes.
because remember, every time she felt like she was too many emotions, she would actually go to him,
Okay,
and
y'all
he
can
would
talk
help
about
her.
it. Go ahead. What's important about Miller?
So Miller ends up being Clara's boyfriend. This is the little boy or whatnot that she actually starts talking about at the beginning that she likes.
That she picked him up off the side of the road.
Yes. And he explains to her that what he was doing was moving the sign.
Again, psycho.
Because
Go
he
ahead.
wanted
That was
pizza
true, yeah.
delivered to his house, and they wouldn't deliver it because of where he lived. He lives with his grandfather, who is sick.
Cancer, yeah.
Yeah. The mother had passed away, right?
Yeah, but we didn't learn that till the
After?
Yeah.
So he ends up being Clara's boyfriend.
Mhm.
He is the one she loses the virginity to.
Mhm.
But he was always very respectful. Like even when they were
Very.
about to have sex, he
He was always
like,
thinking about
Yeah,
her.
he was like, "Are you sure? Like, I don't want to do it if you don't want to do it. Like,
Because
are
he
you
really
really?"
loved her.
It's like he was thoughtful in that way. He did think about Clara.
He did. He was always putting her first, thinking about her emotions.
Mhm.
He actually was there with her when the father passed away. Remember, she left the funeral to
And
go with
and
him.
even though he had a girlfriend, he wanted to check up on
Oh,
her.
that's right. I forgot about the
Yeah.
girlfriend.
He was
So-
cheating. He was cheating on
No,
her.
they had already broken up.
No, not initially. They were not broken.
No, they weren't broken up at the time.
When
So-
he started with Clara, he had
You
already.
see, but here's the thing. Here's a thing here. Okay, when we talking about Miller, cheating. Going back to cheating. Is physical cheating any different from emotional cheating, or is one worse than the other?
I mean, cheating is cheating regardless.
Yeah.
To me. That's just my opinion.
Well, then he cheated. He was cheating emotionally. He was attached to Clara. while he was still
They
dating.
they were never emotionally attached. She gave him a ride.
Mhm.
They talked.
They were emotionally attached.
No, they weren't.
Because
Not in the beginning.
Okay, so let me
Not
ask you
in the
this.
beginning.
This is why he didn't want to tell his girlfriend who, it wasn't just that she was psycho.
Yes.
It was because he actually had feelings about this chick. He liked her. He always liked her, which is why he's psychoing me, to me. Because he videoed her 4 or 5 years before. He saved the videos, and then at the end, he creates this old love about videos.
No, you're
of them
not
coming
saying it
together.
right.
Boom, boom, boom. And then he puts out this video of her coming out 4 to 5 years ago. If I was her dad, I'd be like,
Oh, God.
okay, this is psycho. Like, where was he? Were y'all
No.
friends? They weren't friends. They weren't even
You're
talking.
not explaining it correctly.
But they never even hung out.
Listen, okay, so let me
The boy
explain it
cycle.
because you are just giving him a bad
They
reputation.
explained the whole thing in the book too.
Right. Miller did always like Clara. Like he always
I don't
had
deny
feelings
that.
for her. However, she was in a relationship with someone else.
Yep.
So he decided to start a relationship with the other girl. So
He
no.
emotionally cheated.
No, he did not. He was
He
not
had
with Clara.
intentions. He had intentions for Claire all along.
But Clara
the
was with the
girl
boy.
was just a stop, like on the bus.
Miller was always, he had his guard up. He was always hesitant to even like talk to Claire. That's why he moved his locker.
So
He
I'm
didn't want
gonna
to be next to her.
I'm gonna do something we've probably never done before, but I'm gonna edit this right here, and the conversation is gonna be between you and I, Christian.
Yes.
So, Miller, okay.
But what she don't,
She was like,
what she
we've
don't
never
realize is that
done
I
before.
edit this. And all I gotta do is
Listen.
just
Don't
cut her
worry.
out.
I'll be sure
Miller,
to cut him out.
Miller did not emotionally cheat because again, he started a relationship because Clara was already in a relationship, so he felt like I'm not gonna have a chance. So why would I sit here and wait for her to end this relationship when I can start this relationship with someone else? That was not emotionally cheating.
Yeah, but okay, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about why he was in a relationship with this girl, right? He knew that his feelings for Clara were strong.
So
And
where
he-
do you
and he-
feel he was emotionally cheating? Because he did
Once
not
they-
start with
He
her.
stopped talking to Clara after the whole
Correct.
ride.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. We can have a difference of opinion, okay?
No, but you're trying to be so strong about your
No, okay, so here's my thing. I felt like he was emotionally cheating on the chick, okay? Because remember, there was this time where he needed to break away from Claire, right? He went back with the girlfriend. When he went back with the girlfriend, he knew that moment that he went back with the girlfriend that that's not who he wanted to be with.
And then what did he end up doing?
He went back to the girlfriend, knowing that he had these strong feelings for Clara. Now, he could have easily said to the girl, I don't think this is working. And he could have.
He did.
Yes, but after he went back to her knowing that he wanted to be with Clara.
But he never knew that Clara wanted to be with him.
But that doesn't matter. I mean, see, here's the thing.
You're edited.
No, we're going to end this, but my perspective is this. Intentions matter. Your intentions when you come to the table matter. And so if your intentions are that you're not giving me your whole body, soul, mind coming to this table, and you actually are holding off and thinking about other people, to me, that's emotionally cheating. You don't need to get me into that. Like, you can have a conversation with me and be like, okay, we are doing boom, boom, boom. Like, we're just having sex. Fine. We know our parameters. But if you're coming to me like we are in a relationship and then you have intentions that are other than that, to me, that's cheating. To me, you're selling me short. You're not giving me your whole self. You're not giving me your whole soul.
I disagree because I feel he did not start the relationship with Clara until he knew that Clara felt the same way. And that's when he decided to end the relationship with the girl so he can start the relationship with Clara. It's like Christian mentioned. He loved her so much that he was always thinking about her, trying to put her feelings first.
But I don't disagree with anything that you're saying.
I agree with what you're saying about the whole
I don't.
emotionally cheating stuff, but in regards to the book, I don't see that.
Me neither. I think the author did really good in trying to just portray him as really, really, really loving her.
Yeah.
Like, I felt that throughout the book.
But okay, that may be true, but there's also a concept of your love for a person becomes unhealthy.
and let me clarify your assumption of him being crazy with this video. Yep,
Yes.
there we go.
Okay, so let me ask you all this, okay? Would you recommend individuals to read the book?
I would.
Everyone goes. And tell us why.
I would. I think like you guys mentioned, it's not something I would typically actually read, but it was something that kept me entertained, kept me trying. I didn't want to put the book down. Actually, I think I was the first one who read it, wasn't I?
You finished it first.
Well,
Yeah, I
actually,
think-
let's be perfectly clear, okay? This book club was created, okay? I said, Denise, you want to join the book club? Because I love reading.
I do too.
Denise loved reading too, okay?
I
So
know.
I literally,
Really?
I told her
So
like,
we forced you to this?
This
Hello.
is the first book I've
Sorry.
read in like years.
Oh
But
my gosh.
I told her like on Tuesday, let's just say, hey, you should join the book club, okay, at like 10 o'clock, okay? And I gave her the book, okay? Now, I was just like 3 chapters in, right? 5 p.m., she was sending me a message like, I'm done with the book. And I was like, what?
I'm like, what chapter are you in?
I was like, what chapter? Yeah, I was like, what chapter? Yeah, what chapter? I was like, 4?
He's like, did you do any work? You probably didn't work. I'm like, I'm sorry, I did go to work. No, but remember, I actually had this, it wasn't a book club, but me and my friend actually, we read books. So I love reading. So the minute he mentioned it, I was like, I'm all for it. And so it was something that kept me, like, I didn't want to put it down because I just didn't want to stop reading what
I
was
think
on
the
it.
author
From
did.
the beginning, it was interesting.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
And what is it, Regretting You?
Regretting it.
Regretting You,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yes.
I would also recommend it for people that are into that genre.
Is it fiction?
It's fiction.
It's like romance
Romance,
drama.
drama.
Yeah.
I mean, I would recommend it. I think it's a good read. I think it's a good read for anyone who either likes fiction, don't like fiction. Like my type of fiction, I like Stephen King. So I like that crazy sci-fi type of fiction. I love a lot of self-help books. I love a lot of biographies or real life issues. But this book was a turn pager, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put it down. I kept reading. I would stay up at night and reading because it naturally flowed, and I thought there were so many themes in there that resonated with people personally, and it did a very good job of dealing with complicated issues. Even if I didn't agree with how Arthur ultimately portrayed that complicated issue, but it was an option that people would take. And I know family or friends who would do some of the same things, and I wouldn't agree with it. So I can just imagine that being part of the process. So yeah. So I mean, I enjoyed the book.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me
All right.
too.
And so right now, we already said it last time, but we are reading Cruel Justice, which is a book that is based out of London. It's a crime book. Denise, you picked that one.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, I had originally picked another
Don't
one
talk
that
about that one. Yeah. But that book was boring.
was horrible.
It didn't get good until 20.
20, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, so I picked this one, so this is my pick.
Yeah.
I'm doing really bad in reading, I'm sorry.
It's
But
fine.
I
We're
will
not
try
talking
and
about
catch
that
up.
one yet. All right. And then Christian actually picked
Regretting You.
Regret.
Correction.
Okay.
I did not pick the book. Alright? Sean wanted me to read a book because he wanted me to read. So he picked a book that he thought I'd like. And yes, I liked the book, but I did not pick the book. So don't say I picked the book.
Well, it ended up being a great book, so
Yeah.
regardless of who actually picked it.
Again, I have great taste. All right.
He actually does.
All right.
But my
Single. My
information
Instagram
stood
right
out
here.
All right. So anyway, I want to thank Christian for coming in and being a part of Peeps the Cafe once again. He's been here for a long time. I mean, I feel like you technically are like a co-host, but you like just don't.
Yay!
I am a fucking
Are you
co-host.
promoting him?
But you don't.
Is this a promotion?
But you don't like.
Am I finally getting paid?
But you like you need to do like a little more excitement about it. Like
Because you see, like, you're not as fun as me.
thank you.
Just like to
She
do some
makes
exciting,
me-
bruh. All right, and I want to thank Denise. So I'm going to take a moment real quick. I normally don't do this because I normally like to.
Happy.
No, not that. Fuck that. I like
You're
to fight.
so rude.
I like to fight with her a lot. Like
Yeah,
she.
That's our relationship.
Yeah. But maybe I
Thank
should
you.
say this.
Aww. Here's the heart.
Yeah. She's still single. She gonna stay single too because she fucking single. But
I also do want to say thank you because you're very nice and
Aw, thank
accommodating.
you, Christian.
And from the beginning, you've always been very just nice overall.
Aw,
Like,
thank you.
You make people feel welcome, or at least I feel welcome.
I'm glad you feel that way. You are welcome. You're
Thank
part of the family already.
oh my God, please. All right. So again.
Thank you guys, though. I'm sorry. Can I say my thank you? Thank you guys for having me in your podcast, Reading with the Peeps. Here it is.
That's right.
Please
you can join.
You are the new host. so-
I know, right?
You can join
Yes,
by
please do
doing that,
so.
whatever she's doing. But anyway, yeah, you should do it.
It'll be fun. I think we will have a lot of fun
We
reading,
will.
discussing.
Exactly. And we like all over the place sometimes, but I mean that's natural when you have conversations and you're enjoying it, and you will see our chat communications throughout, like how we talk about stuff dealing with
Yeah.
people. But yeah, so you can join. You can also watch the podcast on YouTube. You can listen on Apple, Spotify, Google, TuneIn, Stitcher, Launchpad, or whatever you listen to podcasts. And so until next time, remember to continue to drink.
Drink, listen, and converse.
Yeah.
Drink, listen, and converse.
Drink, listen, and converse. Peace.